Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative podcast. This is the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions in the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, social media, sports, everything really, depending on the guests. We talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis, and on Twitter and social media, you know me as PD Beats. And my guest is an actor. You will recognize him as Gerald in Kim's Convenience, which you could watch on Netflix. We're with Ben Beauchemin. Ben, welcome to Popternative.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on with us.
I'd get in trouble if I didn't mention too that you can watch Kim's Convenience on the CBC website completely for free too. CBC Gem.
Absolutely.
Tons of stuff on there, all for free.
It's pretty cool, though, because, you know, I talked to Michael Musi about this place, Terrence. I mean, there was once, like, a stigma attached to, like, we're both Canadian, we're from Canada. There was once a stigma attached to Canadian shows, but now it's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hope so, certainly. I think CBC especially has really invested a lot into, like, making good shows and making good comedy and really, really putting a lot of like effort and focus into that.
So your character Gerald, who is roommates with Janet, is nice. He has a nice heart. You know what I mean? A little bit of an awkward guy, a bit of a space cadet at times. It must be a fun character to play, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's super fun. I just go in and like the writers are fantastic and they just write like funny, like I was talking to Andrew. Me and Andrew were talking about this at a live show. Like, because Kim's, it is a comedy, but almost all the principal characters do get the really heavy, sort of emotional moments in many of the episodes. But Gerald, other than the very end of season 4, like I just go in and I just say jokes, and it's really great.
No, absolutely, it
is. Zing a few lines out.
But like, did you? So when you landed the role of Gerald, right, and you're going to the table reads and you're filming it, right? Did they want you to be this kind of really like socially awkward? Because sometimes it's awkwardness, like in social settings, is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not actually too sure. I know that like I remember getting the character description, and I remember they said something about shy or something. He was originally supposed to be a goth, which I thought was interesting. He was supposed to be like some goth punk guy, and he was only in a couple episodes. But like sort of with Terrence's character, they just kept expanding him. But when I read the script, that's how I saw it as just a deeply uncomfortable person.
Well, starting in season, I mean, you're around, like Gerald's around, but like specifically season 3 and on, like there's a lot of Gerald.
Yeah, it's been nice. They've been giving me a lot of screen time. I've been very happy with it.
So when did Ben Beauchemin decide that he wanted to be a storyteller? I call you storytellers, you know, whether you're an actor or a writer. Like, when did you decide you wanted to do that?
Oh, man, acting was really, really young. Like, I remember I used to love Jim Carrey, those movies like Ace Ventura. So Ace Ventura 2 specifically was like favorite movie, and I just remember like telling my parents, I'm like, I just want to do that, like thinking I would be like fighting crocodiles and climbing out of rhinoceros asses and stuff like that, which isn't the case, but they signed me up for like children's theater classes, and then I just started doing those and like been going fairly steady since I was like 8 years old or so.
Wow. And now you're Gerald on Kim's Convenience, which is amazing, and it's one of those things too that, Ben, I wanted to talk to you about is kind of with that like stigma of like, you know, Canadian shows that, you know, you can only watch them in Canada and they don't get kind of any traction outside. I mean, Kim's Convenience, Letterkenny, Schitt's Creek, all these shows are breaking barriers for Canadian television and are getting like global distribution. And it's just amazing to see, man.
Yeah, even like I know Kim's, I'm not sure if it was yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever, but they got a shout out from like Stephen Colbert's Instagram, posted a picture of it, and it's something about like I think they're doing what shows they were watching in isolation.
It's
but they mentioned
cool
Kim's, and
it's
huge for especially like because he's such a huge figure, and man, the Colbert Show is like one of my favorites. I watch it all the time.
Well, that reminds me of Brad Pitt at the Academy Awards who said, I
Right,
feel about Letterkenny.
Yeah. That was really cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice. It's nice having people pay attention to Canadian stuff for sure.
Absolutely. You know, people will probably recognize you more from Kim's Convenience. Past and present projects that you've worked on besides Kim's Convenience, what have been kind of projects that, besides Kim's, that have been kind of close to your heart in terms of cool, you know, shows or movies that you've done in the past, Ben?
There's been a few. I had a very small part on it, but it was a really good special show, and that was Less Than Kind.
Jesse Camacho is one of my best friends. Went to school with him.
Oh, no way. Yeah, Jesse's great, dude. Yeah, I played in the first season, and I think maybe an episode or something in the second season. And I wasn't a huge part of it, but like I really loved that show, and that show was really great. We did like a small cast and crew reunion, like maybe half a year ago or so in Toronto.
Tyler Johnson was on that too.
He was, yeah. I never got to work with him, unfortunately, but he was on that. Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, I always thought was such a fun show. It's so funny and so different, and I really wish more people had watched it.
So I wanted to ask you, so you're from Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And you're French. You see it with Gerald's kind of awkward French that comes out sometimes in the episode. Are you from is there like a small area, like French community in Winnipeg?
So there's actually a pretty big French community called in Saint Boniface and in like the country and stuff like that. And my last name Beauchemin, it is a French name, and it's like we're French, we're Métis, and my dad's side of the family speaks French pretty well, but unfortunately, most of the cousins have kind of lost it. But in the past few months, I've been trying to like relearn my French again, so I've been practicing more and stuff like that. Gotcha. Now I've got so much time, so I've really got no excuse to.
Because I'm sure when people see your last name and say, "Oh, you're from Canada," they'll just probably be like, "Oh, you're from Montreal." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy, but I also found out like I had a friend that interned. It's small, but he went to like Edmonton and worked on like the only French newspaper in Alberta, which is pretty crazy.
Interned at where? Sorry.
He interned in Alberta.
Okay.
And it was like I forget what it was called, but it was like the only French publication like in Alberta. Because they don't have a lot of French. They don't speak as much French.
Not a lot of French speakers, no. But Manitoba's got quite a bit, though. Oh, I think it's the other province in the country that is two official languages, English and French.
Oh, absolutely. So were you a big Winnipeg Jets fan growing up?
Well, I mean, not really growing up because they
weren't around.
They
left
when I was so young, but since they've come back, I've been following them more and more. I'm not like a diehard; I don't watch every game, but when they're in the playoffs, I try to catch as much of that as I can, and one game here and there and stuff.
I was on Instagram Live with Paul for Kim's Convenience, and we were kind of looking at there were people kind of tuning in from like all over the world for this live broadcast, and it's pretty cool to see that Kim's Convenience has that international fan base.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think it being on Netflix has especially helped it like open up to the rest of the world big time.
No, absolutely. What were you? Did you? So you said before we started. I mean, it got renewed for season 5, Kim's Convenience, but didn't it also get renewed for 2 more seasons?
Yeah, 5 and 6.
That's amazing. Like that's like the dream of a cast, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
That's awesome. And there were plans obviously to film season 5 in May, but that's obviously going to be, I mean, that it's fluid in terms of like when production is going to start, but I'm sure you're all excited to get back together because it's like a family.
Yeah, I am. I'm really excited. Like a few of us have been like emailing and stuff like that too. Like it'll be really, really good to get going again for sure. But the production team's been really solid. I think the writers are still writing and everything like that, and it seems like they're doing everything they can to be able to get us going as soon as they can.
Did they announce season 5 and 6 like right away, or was it like season 5 and then like when they announced the renewal, did they announce the 2 seasons right away? Like it was going to be.
I think they announced them. I announced them at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. 6, yeah. And now you've been in the industry for a good amount of time. That like you can kind of like that's unusual for that to happen sometimes. Usually they commit to 1 season.
Oh man, yeah, I know. Even especially with Canadian TV shows too. Like, like I mentioned, like Todd and Less Than Kind, and those ones got a few seasons. But like, there's another show I was on in Winnipeg called House Party, and that one is so little known, and I thought it was a really good idea, and I thought it was really funny. I just wish the network gave it more of a shot to keep going. But that one,
where was it on?
The Comedy Network.
Comedy Network. House Party?
Yeah.
How many seasons did it get?
6 episodes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in and out. Yeah. But it was, I don't know, man.
Is it available to watch anywhere, or?
I think it's probably still like the Comedy Network has their video player. I can't imagine they've taken it off. But I think if you want, yeah, it's probably still up there.
Do you remember the show Puppets Who Kill? Do you know that show? Or like,
I remember hearing about it, but I never watched it.
The Comedy Network, like, people don't realize, has been putting out TV shows for a long time.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of them, Puppets Who Kill or something. And it was what I think they were doing is they were featuring a lot of like comedians, like Canadian comedians, and then creating shows around them.
Okay.
And I think that was kind of a formula. So speaking of formulas, what do you think makes Kim's Convenience so special? Like, what are some of the kind of ingredients of Kim's Convenience? I mean, we talked about it. It's pure. There's an innocence to it.
I think it honestly just comes down to like strong writing and good performances. Like, I know it sounds weird to say that because I'm a performer on it, but I do think they have some really, really good actors on it, and I think the writers are really sharp. And I think when it comes down to it, like in a TV comedy, that's sort of what you're looking for. And, you know, the direction's really solid and everything too. To keep everything moving really fast, and I think that's it. I mean, I am sure there's some other things that I'm missing, but
now, production question I have for you is, because I talked to Moosey about this. I mean, you guys, like, the whole cast kind of meets at like at events and rap parties and everything, but like Moosey and Andrew and Simu, they're like the handy crew, right? So they do a lot of their scenes with a handy, and then you're doing a lot of your scenes with, you know, Janet, Vandria, and doing that. There's not much kind of crossover. Like, you have your scenes with the like Mr. and Mrs. Kim, but you don't have a lot of scenes with Jung and Handy cars.
No scenes with Handy pretty much at all. Those two worlds don't really cross-pollinate.
I find that interesting. Like, they don't. It's like almost two different shows almost.
A little bit, yeah. Like, there's two different or a few different parts of it. But I do know that I've been fortunate enough to do scenes with like Simu and Andrew and stuff like that, and that's always really fun whenever they can make it in. And likewise, I mean, I'd like to do stuff at Handy, but I think right now the writers and stuff are just figuring out these little worlds really well. But I mean, at the end of season 4 too, everything sort of shook up. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen.
You and Andrea are kind of presented as these kind of artsy photographers, really into your art and everything. Did you kind of have to do a little bit of research when you kind of got the role about being in that field of like being an artsy photographer or anything?
No. This guy came and he showed us how to shoot, like hold the camera and stuff like that. But other than that, not really. No, not for photography stuff.
Okay. Did you become better? Did you actually have to do like actual photography like during it?
No, never. They have like the prop camera, and we get to point those.
That would be cool though if you like became if like Ben Beauchemin like took up like photography as a hobby after Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, I've got 2 younger brothers who are both very good photographers.
You're just like, I just play one on TV, man.
What's that? Yeah, and I just play one on TV. Exactly. So that's it. Yeah.
That would be a pretty good if there was like a stand-up comedian that was also like an actor, and like that would be a good bit. My 2 brothers who are actually like photographers, and hey, I just play one on TV.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Talk a little bit about some of your favorite moments so far of shooting Kim's Convenience, Ben. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a family on set, but have there been so many cool specific moments that come to your mind?
They come to mind. I remember like the first season, because I had so many scenes with Paul, and I remember like when I could make him break laughing, that always felt really good. So I remember being like so nervous and stuff on set. He's such a good actor and he's so funny, and like he's a real presence too, like a very welcoming presence, but a presence. And so being able to like make someone like that break and laugh like that, those are things that I think about and always make me like. There was one scene where when I played an episode where I worked at the store and we had to get cigarettes for this lady who was buying some, and we kept breaking the entire time. And I don't know, I really enjoyed that moment.
Oh man, that is awesome. So I mean, what's next for Gerald? I mean, the same old kind of, hanging out and being friends to Andrea. I mean, we
didn't you watch the series finale?
Well, it's not on Netflix yet.
Yeah, it is.
4. Well, not in Canada. Season 4.
What's that? Sorry,
I don't think season 4 is on Netflix yet.
It is on Netflix.
Are you sure?
If it's not on Netflix in Canada, it's on CBC Gem.
Okay, because it's not like it just ends. I'll check it right now, but like
because so I'm not gonna give any spoilers, but there's a huge everything breaks apart at the end.
And that's why you probably can't answer the question, just in case a lot of viewers haven't watched that. Yeah, I thought it was like, so I had like a panel from Ozark on my show, it's, like to talk about like season 3. Yeah. And they were really worried about like spoiling. Like they were having a hard time like answering questions because they didn't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
But no, I'm actually gonna search this right now because unless I'm crazy, it's possible. We're like we're in this quarantine. You know what I mean? So
time doesn't seem.
I mean, what day is it today? Like I think it's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. But just 3 seasons.
Okay, but yeah, they do have it on CBC Gem if you're curious. It's on there too, streaming.
I'm sure it's gonna drop, but I know season 4 is dropped like other places.
Yeah, I think outside of the country it's on Netflix, but I think within Canada CBC still has the rights, and they still have like their own streaming service and stuff too. So I think it's gonna probably stick on there for a while.
I find it interesting about Kim's Convenience, where like, I mean, you said season 4. I mean, that like there's some stuff that happens, but like for the most part, I mean, you could just put. I mean, there's some storylines that kind of obviously like stay, you know what I mean? But like I could just go and watch season 2, episode 6, right? And I don't have to like it's just a show you could just put on without kind of watching like previous episodes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's definitely like there's definitely the overarching storylines, but I do think like, as the nature of sitcoms sort of go, you can sort of just start wherever and just watch an episode on its own, and I think they all stand on their own like really well and stuff too.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, great. You get a good sense of the characters pretty immediately in most scenes and stuff too.
For sure. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining me on Popternative, man.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No, of course. Where can people follow you on social media to keep up to date with everything?
I got Twitter and Instagram. The handle's the same on both, @BenBosch.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, and congrats with the success of Kim's Convenience, man. Fantastic.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Be sure to watch Ben as Gerald in Kim's Convenience, which is on Netflix and CBC Gem in Canada. And until next time, this is PD Beats and Ben Beauchemin signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.